Thank you, Wayne, and I'm very excited to be here and honored to be here, actually. What I do and what I really enjoy doing is helping contractors. So just a little quick snapshot on me. I am Kenny Chapman, the Blue Collar Coach. I'm the founder of the Blue Collar Success Group. And perhaps something that you need to know about me is I'm a contractor just like you. 22 years ago, April 1st, yes, that is April Fool's Day, I began in this business as a drain cleaner. And I didn't really know what I was doing. I had no business being in business, and kind of started out, that whole process that many of us have gone through. And I said, man, there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a better way. And I started looking for that, and I began implementing proven best practices and was able to scale my company and create a business that served my life rather than my life serving the business. And with my passion to help people, I founded the Blue Collar Success Group, and I did that to where we focus on what matters most, what drives the needle the very most. And what I know is it's this. It's a critical synergy between sales and marketing. And so we talk about the marriage here, and it really is a critical synergy. So, if you can nail these things, and some of you are going, well, what does marriage have to do with sales and marketing? Well, bear with me, and we're going to talk about that. And as Wayne said, please, I would encourage you to ask questions as we go. I'm going to ask you guys a couple questions as we go as well. But history shows that if you nail these things, you can make a lot of mistakes in business. You can let a few things go here and there. But if you nail sales and marketing and create critical synergy, then your business is going to do a lot of really, really good things for you. So let's jump right in. So I want you to think about marketing in three different capacities as we get started here today. At the Blue Collar Success Group, we believe in that there's a before unit, a during unit, and an after unit, all in marketing. Now, where do most of us as contractors, I still own my plumbing heating company here in western Colorado, and where do we most spend our time? Obviously in the before unit. We need leads. I mean, I'm a coach, I'm a consultant, I travel all around the country, the U.S., Canada, and Australia, and what I see is everybody, I want more leads, I need more leads, I need more leads. Okay, great. So where we focus our time on making the phone ring, and then we hit the during unit, and some of us are a little better than others, and that's where you're kind of working through your sales process and how you're engaging your client as you go, and all those different types of things. That's kind of, why we've got this green box here. That's where we feel the money's made. That's where we feel that the relationships are built, and that's all true. And then we hit the after unit. And what does that mean? Oh, thank you, maybe a thank you card, maybe hopefully a service agreement, but beyond that, what part of your marketing budget are you spending on staying in touch? Because we know how much it costs, how expensive, how laborious it is just to get that lead straight away. So today I'm going to talk about tying all three of these together to create good lead flow, create higher tickets, and generate repeat, really loyal clients as we work through this here together. So it's not just about speaking the same language. So sales and marketing is a lot like a marriage, and here's why. Because there's a relationship going on between the sales and marketing department, and we're going to talk about how sometimes they can get sideways with each other. And I love this shot here on your screen, because that's kind of the deal, right? So, well, we're speaking the same language, but, how about the whole, honey, could you take out the trash in year one? You're up and you're running to get the trash, and yes, and you're skipping to the garbage can, right? And then you hit year maybe 3, 4, 5, 10, whatever it is, and it's like, honey, would you mind grabbing the garbage on your way out? You turn like, what am I, your slave? What's the deal here? It's like, wait a minute. And marketing and sales end up kind of doing that. Now, I'm going to reference these as we move forward here, my friends, as departments, the marketing department and the sales department. I don't care if you're a one-truck operator, you have those existing within your company. Maybe you're just, doing a small pay-per-click campaign. Maybe you have a website with some SEO involved in it. Whatever that looks like, I want you to think about your business as we segment this. And your marketing and sales are different, but we want to segment them together. So let me ask you this, and just type it in the box if you're willing to play today. What are some things that you think make a great marriage? Just go ahead and type in there. Some of you are married. Some of you are on your first marriage, and maybe you're newlywed. It's marriage season now, wedding season right now in the U.S., right? Summertime, a lot of weddings going on, and perhaps you're on your second one, and sometimes you might be on your third or whatever. I've got a friend that talks about history or time, and he's like, oh, that was a long time ago. And so, well, Joe, how long ago was that? He says, oh, that was way back when we were all on our starter marriages, right? So unfortunately, it's a true statistic, and I don't want that to be a statistic when it comes to your sales and marketing. So what we know is, there's a certain synergy within a relationship that makes a good marriage. Most good marriages, both partners have the same goals, at least in alignment, right? They don't have to be exact, but they need to be in alignment. There's a certain level of trust that takes place, and trust is a massive thing in our companies and our businesses, and where sometimes the marketing department wants something done, and sales is saying, well, they're not generating the right leads, so they don't trust them, right? Very, very similar. The last thing I would say about this is, what about expectations? When I do these events live, and I could engage you to where you could actually talk to me, we hear that. Well, it depends on the expectation going in. And that's what I want you to think about your business. If you want more leads, you want more quality leads, you want to convert those leads in the sales cycle, but really, what are the expectations of these two components in your company? So first thing we want to talk about is understanding. Ultimately, a great marriage is built on understanding the other person's perspective. Now, where does our perspective come from, right? And those of you that are happily married, you know that. It doesn't mean, like I said before, as far as alignment, you don't have to be 100% like, oh, I agree 1,000%, but it's understanding, because where do our perspectives come from? I talk about the 3 Ps when it comes to this. And that is our perspective really is driven from, first of all, our parents, right? So we start out, and our parents kind of create our perspective originally. They're the ones leading us, guiding us, instilling belief systems, instilling different things in us. So it starts with parents. Then we move to peers, right? So some of you watching this now are thinking, okay, so my peers. Well, let me take you back to middle school, or perhaps high school, if you will. And remember when mom would say, I really don't want you hanging out with that group of kids. They're just not a good influence on you, right? And some of you might be going, well, like I am, I don't really remember mom saying that. And that's because you were the kid that the other parents were saying, hey, don't hang out with that kid, right? So we all know that story, right? So we've got our parents influence us to our perspective, our peers influence us, and finally our past experience. And that's true in all marketing and sales as well. There's different perspectives that take place. Therefore, we need to be really mindful of that. And there can be a total battle that takes place if there's not an understanding. So we need to drive that understanding between these two components. So first, let's talk about alignment here. Now, I mentioned this earlier, that you don't have to be an exact, thinking the exact same. So we've got blue and we've got orange, but you've got to have some blue and orange here that mix together. So how I equate this would be, I'm happily married to the lovely Christy, and the lovely Christy loves to shop, as many of our spouses do, right? She loves to shop, and the lovely Christy will go to an outlet mall, say, and she'll be able to spend 6 hours at an outlet mall. and I won't stay. I'll drop her off if we're traveling. I'll drop her off and I'll come back and pick her up or whatever because I can't do it. But regardless, 6 hours, I come back, pick her up, and she's like, oh, look at all the great things that I got. She might have 3, 4, 5, maybe a half a dozen items, and on average, she will have spent 22, 25 bucks. 6 hours. Now, first off, I'm grateful that she's not out there like spending 2,500 bucks, but regardless, I don't get that at all. I mean, it does not compute to me whatsoever. Now, however, I understand why she enjoys it. I get what's in her mind about it. I understand those types of things. Therefore, I validate that. And what we got to do is get to a common goal. Now, let's think about marketing and sales. It's all about one common goal, but too often they end up almost in pillars on their own thinking, well, I'm making the phone ring. And sales is going, well, I'm converting sales. I'm making sales. You're not giving me enough calls. Well, now we got you more calls, but yeah, well, they're not the right calls. And all that stuff, right? Here's the deal. They have one goal together, period, and that's what I want you to drive home in your businesses, is the one goal is simply to drive revenue, period. Drive revenue is the common goal. And when we get focused there, we as leaders bring these two components together. However big your company is, however small your company is, this exists for you. And these need to come together to make sure that we have that critical synergy that's focused on driving revenue first and foremost. Now, here's the thing. It doesn't work with your spouse and it doesn't work with your clients. So I told you I loved you when I married you, honey. But, you know, if that changes, I'll let you know. Hopefully some of you can relate to this where, you know, it's like, man, when we look back to the good marriage thing, it's like, well, I took your hand in front of all of our friends and family and I said I do, for better, for worse, and I love you. I don't need to tell you again. Well, think about that in our businesses and think about how that might show up when it comes to our clients and the different things that could impact that, right? So the reality is that, you know, our clients need continual reassurance that we're going to be there, because the fact is, I mean, there's this graphic on your screen, this lady that's leaning across the couch with her back turned on her partner here, and he's cross-armed watching TV or whatever he's doing, right? And you're the company. You're the guy in the background, and this is Miss Jones. This is your client or prospective client, right? And so what happens is we tell them, oh, yeah, great, thanks. Now, remember the before, during, and after unit. We were all happy when she was in the before unit. Remember the dating part? You know, you don't go on a first date and say, hey, want to get married, right? You court that person for a little bit. So through your marketing and education, which I'm going to talk about here in a few minutes, that's your dating part. And then the marriage is when you actually make the sale. And then most of us drop the ball in that after unit piece, just like this guy did, because he didn't keep on making her feel special, didn't treat her right. So we've got to make sure that we're doing that. We're continually reassuring our clients, we are the right company for you. You can trust us. We care. We understand you. We want to be involved with you. Now, don't go out and date and marry your clients. That's not what I'm talking about here. But I want you to think about that metaphor and that analogy as we work through here today. So certainly communication requires work. But here's the thing. It doesn't have to be hard. You know, too often we're kind of taught that, well, this has got to be a challenging thing. It's got to be difficult. It's got to be, well, no, it's got to be consistent, and it's going to take effort for sure, but it definitely doesn't have to be so hard as we all kind of think. So, you know, when we think about what we're doing here today, right? We're talking about communication, but I want to show you how you can communicate with your clients and utilize one piece of content, because content marketing, education-based marketing, is the future. If you don't like it, find something else to do, but you better find something else to do that you don't have to do marketing in, because this is the future of where we're going, and people want this, and content is so easy to digest, and it's coming from so many places. We have to be very intentional, we have to be very specific, and we have to be very clear about what we want that to look like. So today I'm going to model one piece of content that we've used in the past and show you how we can really serve our clients with it, as well as repurpose it, so we don't have to make it as difficult as many of us do, and how challenging it really can become. So here's the thing: purpose and repurpose. Valuable, relevant content becomes an asset to you. Now, what do I mean by this? Well, the key is valuable on this slide. It's got to be valuable. It's got to be relevant, because many companies are putting out content. Many of your peers, many of your competitors are possibly hiring some agencies, and they're posting some things and doing some things, and certainly I'm a fan of the right agencies that really get it and serve our industry effectively and understand who we are. But literally, I was looking at hiring an agency in our plumbing heating company here, and we jumped on a webcast with the guy who was going to run me through this presentation thing, and he was going to do content marketing for our company, right? And so we get on the webcast, and he has the name of our company spelled wrong. Like literally, the very first sales thing that he does, he doesn't even have our company name spelled right. And then he leads with, well, the good thing about us, Kenny, is we're generalists when it comes to marketing. And I'm going, what on earth is this guy talking about? Fortunately, I know a lot about marketing, so I'm able to quickly broom him and go, okay, that's insane. But unfortunately, a lot of our peers and a lot of contractors don't really know marketing, because you're hustling, you're out there making it rain, you're doing the work, you're in the business rather than working on the business, right? So in the process, while you're transitioning this, we've got to make sure that we look at what's valuable. So, what do they want to consume? Videos, blogs, newsletters, Facebook, different things like that. So a lot of us are taught that, people buy when they understand us as the salesperson. Let's say we're the salespeople. That is an absolute fallacy. I literally do hundreds of ride-alongs a year with frontline technicians. I go into companies, I put on their uniforms, I get in the truck, and I ride with technicians, and I see what really happens. And what I know, you can teach a lot. I mean, we do retreats and workshops and seminars, and we train all that. We've got membership, all that stuff. But when I'm face-to-face with a client, with a technician, what I know is Miss Jones buys when she feels that we understand her. So how do we show them that we understand? Well, one of the things is that, you've got to demonstrate that you understand them through the content that you put out. So Miss Jones is only going to feel understood if you're actually delivering things that make sense to her, that really resonate with her. So, what are some, let me ask you this, what are some ways, and just type in the chat box again if you have any thoughts of what if I don't know what my client base wants? So you say, Kenny, okay, great. I want to deliver content that they're interested in, that they want to know about. What are some ways that I can find out? Like, how do I know if I don't know? Any thoughts, go ahead and type them in the little chat box there, and we'll field those. And while that's taking place, I want you to really think about what we're doing here today. So why this topic? Why the marriage of sales and marketing? And why am I talking about how we can take one piece of content and tweak it, repurpose it, and distribute it across multiple channels? Well, it's because of this, my friend. We go to you. We go to our followers. We go to our members. We go to our clients, and we ask the question, Why aren't you doing more effective content marketing? Why aren't you giving your clients valuable resources that they can use even when they don't need you, right? Because most of us have some broke fix, what I call broke fix mentality. We'll just wait until something breaks, the client will call us, we'll go out and fix it. That is not the best way to run your company. You want to stay in front of Ms. Jones. You want to give her value even when she doesn't need you. And guess what? When she does, she's going to remember the tips that you gave her, the content that she digested, that she appreciated, and boom, you're going to be the very first one that she calls. So we went to you and said, well, what's going on? Why don't you do more of this type of marketing? And you tell us, well, man, Kenny, we'd love to, but we don't have enough time, and we can't make it consistent because you'll spend all this time, and maybe you'll write a blog. Maybe you even do a newsletter. And then you go, man, that's just, it's too much work. I got to run on a service call. I got to get out the door. I got to go, you know, meet on a proposal or an estimate or whatever it is that you call it and how you do it. So the reality is we've got to get our clients to understand us, and the number one way, I mean, for them to feel understood by us, and the number one way we do that is by delivering things that they go, wow, kind of gets me. All of you have been in that space where it's like, wow, that person kind of gets me. That's what we want when it comes to being in front of our clients. So let's talk about this repurposing piece. So we've got a very inexpensive coaching club called the Essential Club, that in this Essential membership, there's, you know, we do a done-for-you monthly newsletter. We put it out every month. Clients just download it and put their logo and their name and phone numbers on it. Boom, they can send it out. They can hard mail it. They can email it. They can do whatever with it. So we put out content every single month for our clients that's valuable and relevant to their client base because we know what that is. So from those newsletters now, we're talking about repurposing. You can take one newsletter and you can literally create 3 to 4 blog posts out of that, because you can pull different things from different columns, different. When I say columns, I mean like articles within the newsletter. You can come up with at least 5 blog posts. I'm going to show you a little bit more about that. And certainly, you know, there are some videos that can come out of a newsletter. Now, that's just one newsletter. Now, some of you might be going, man, Kenny, that sounds great, and I'd love to do that, but you know, I don't have a newsletter. I don't have the ability to do that. Well, if that's true, certainly we're going to give you the ability to have that for very, very minimal investment, because it's a no-brainer. If you don't have a newsletter, you are leaving money on the table, period. Get that. If you're not sending newsletters, you're wasting some of your front end, your before unit marketing dollars. Because once people do business with you, you've got to keep them coming back and coming back and coming back. So let's look at this. We put out an article for our membership that was called Keeping Your Family Healthy, Cool, and Safe This Summer. So this one article, and I know you can't read it there, but you can see how long it was. It wasn't crazy long. What we did is we delivered solid tips to keep cool indoors and outside. So this was, we released this about, I want to say May or so, here at my company in western Colorado, where that's just kind of when it's kind of starting to get a little bit hot. We'll see some 90s, and we're dry heat, so it's not, you know, it's not crazy, but it's heading into that season. So our clients are starting to get a little warm coming out of winter. So solid tips, keep you cool inside and out. We've got a little prompt in there for a little, yeah, you know, hey, service or replacement, but there's not offers everywhere. You don't see dollar signs. You don't see special. There's not pop-out boxes and all this stuff that you see on a lot of things, right? And so there's just a subtle prompt, because we're delivering content. We're delivering value. We want them to know that you know, we understand what they're talking about, so they feel understood by us. We research through Google searches and our own personal experience. So obviously, I mean, we've got it easier than anybody in history right now, my friends, with Google. With the platforms we have, with Facebook, with YouTube, to reach our clients is so much easier, so much more inexpensive, and guess what? You're still coming up with excuses why you won't do it. years ago, if we would have talked 5 years ago, 10 years ago, you would have told me you can't afford to do direct mail. You would have told me that you can't afford to take the time off and go to networking meetings and different things and sit on local boards and do charities and things. And now all of a sudden we have different platforms. All those things are necessary, and we lay these on, and we still come up with those excuses. Now, this took about 90 minutes to write it and proof it, hour and a half at time, okay? And you might go, man, that's a long time for one column, one article. Well, it could be, it could not be, but how many phone calls would you invest 90 minutes to get? How many leads would you get? Think about your average ticket. What if you got a few calls off of something like this, and it didn't just have to come from this one article? So we took this article, and first we made it a website blog. Say, okay, boom, it can be a blog. So just how it's written, you post it on your blog. And blogs are incredibly valuable for certainly for our clients to have access to our content and digest our information, obviously. But there's also benefit, certainly to Google ranking and how they're looking at us. And when Google's running their spiders and crawling our sites and stuff, we got to make sure that our content is evolving and it's not stale. And so that's the importance of blogging and getting this information out there periodically. You don't have to do it daily or even weekly for that matter, but you do want to do it at least a couple times a month if possible, and even once a month if you can't digest twice. But something is better than nothing, okay? Everything I'm talking about here today, my friends, I want you to know something is better than nothing. So, then you turn around and go, okay, I'm going to put a link to this blog on my company Facebook and my personal Facebook. And yes, some of you just cringed. Okay, so you might not want your personal Facebook tied to your company and different things like that. First thing I would challenge is why, because, in the speaking world, in the consulting training, even though I still own a plumbing heating company, I don't run the day-to-day operation. I spend very little time in that business now. I've got great management team. I've got great partners that run the day-to-day operation. So I spend my time here. And we talk about front stage and backstage in the consulting business, meaning that what you see in front of the room with some people is a lot different than what you see at the bar with some people, right? So, you got to kind of sort that out for yourself, and even maybe more scary is what I'm going to ask you to do next. So I'm going to ask you to put it on your company page. I'm going to ask you to share it on your personal Facebook page. Then I'm going to ask you to go to your team and ask your team members to share it on their personal Facebook pages. And you go, wow, now we're really getting into something. Well, here's the thing. Do I condone and love everything that my team might have on their personal pages? Not necessarily, but you know what? It's the real world, and people get that. But the more shares that you put through Facebook, as many of you know, the better Facebook says, hey, that's valuable. The statistics say that the average post, about 6% of your followers see that initial post. 6%. And we feel, and you've seen it, kind of the same people coming up, whatever. Well, now the best way to drive that number higher is when it gets shared, Facebook goes, hey, this must have relevance. This must have something that people want to see. And the more that it gets shared, so drive that through your, you get something to go viral, that's awesome. But until that happens, force some viral throughout your own organization, okay? And then certainly the last thing is turn it into an email and shoot it to your clients with just a, hey, I just thought you might like this. Here's some tips to keep you cool inside and outside coming this summer. It's going to be hot pretty soon. It's not, hey, call me because I want to replace your air conditioning system. And so it's some delayed gratification, which none of us are very good at, myself included, my friends, trust me, but it's a necessary piece. And once you get the ball rolling, then it becomes instant gratification because somebody that you touched 2 months ago or whatever now all of a sudden does have a demand need or a maintenance need. Now they're going to contact us. The last thing I'll say here is that contribute to others. So you got this piece of content. You wrote this one article. Took you 90 minutes. Now you've got a blog. Now you've got a bunch of shares on Facebook driving back to that blog. You've got an email to your list. Now you still have the content though, right? So where else can, when you think about it, who else is putting out content? Well, perhaps realtors, insurance agents, banks. I mean, our bank has a newsletter, for crying out loud. Does it help my bank if I go to my banker and go, hey, it's getting hot, why don't you throw this article in your newsletter in June and run it out to tens of thousands of clients? I don't know how many they have, but what about that? Because here's what I'll tell you, my friends. At Blue Collar Success Group, we put out a lot of content. And anybody that puts out content is always looking for contributors, always looking for someone else to put out content for them. So look for those areas so you can get in front of more people. So when we think about that, so that was just sharing on Facebook back to your blog, just posting links to the blog. Hey, just got this new blog about staying cool this summer. Now, circle back and check this out. Well, then from that, now we look at this. Holy smokes. We can pull 3 more Facebook posts from that article. So here, all of the text that you see, all of the copy, all the writing that's here came directly from this one article. And so from this article, you're able to have these 3 different Facebook posts, which images are great, writing is great, and you don't want too much writing. Sometimes Facebook will shy away from that a little bit, but these things are like, people are going to look at these and go, oh, okay. Now, I want you to know, like you go, well, I don't have a graphic designer on staff. I get it. I totally get it. But this was created in Canva.com, Canva.com. Now, Canva is, we put out a list of our favorite social media tools, and our social media expert on our team loves to use Canva. And it's very inexpensive. It's very user-friendly. So check it out, and that's where you can just drop some copy right on top of images already done. We didn't create these images. They already existed. Boom, you get them, and now all of a sudden we've got 3 more Facebook posts that we can space out and derive value. And guess what? So you go, well, yeah, Kenny, but I don't want to keep barraging. That's what I hear. I don't want to wear my clients out. I don't want to mail them too much. I don't want to Facebook them too much. Okay. Where that comes from is offer, offer, offer. Call me, call me, call me. Let's go on a date. Let's go on a date. Let's go on a date. That's not what this is. There's not even an offer here, right? So that's the difference. And your clients that might have got it or read it already, they're going to get this and not even remember or not even put it together. And if they do, even better. But they're going to associate with these images. Oh man, summer barbecue. Oh, hot, working out. Drink some water. Make sure what's going on out there. Stay in front of the fan. Make sure that you take care of yourself. So images drive. We learn in different ways. We retain in different ways. So we've got to make sure that our content-based marketing attracts those things in all kinds of different ways. Now, the other thing to think about is this: YouTube videos. There is no question that video has the most clout now on any platform. At the time that we're recording this, Facebook Live is in its infancy. It's picking up speed. It's doing some new things. I just did a 30-minute interview or actually 45-minute interview with Larry Wingett, the Pitbull of Personal Development, on a Facebook Live a couple weeks ago in Scottsdale, Arizona. And, this is a new platform that Facebook's really loving. YouTube probably not loving that so much since they compete, but YouTube loves video. Google owns YouTube, so Google loves video. Facebook, they're their own monster on their own, and now they're going at video's where it's at, so that's where that's going. And so I'm encouraging you to take some of that, and I shot a couple of these here for my company here based on this article. So there's I shot 2 different videos, and they actually, I don't know if you can.
Hey, my friends, Kenny Chapman here, one of your local owners of Peterson Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning, and Just want to touch base as your air conditioning professionals, a couple quick tips on how to stay cool this summer. Obviously, we're heating up. Our guys are getting ready to roll out, take care of our clients this morning, and just want to touch base, as hot as it is, indoors, maybe.
Okay, so I'm not going to waste your time playing video on here, but that's, it's just that. This is shot on an iPhone 5 or 6, I don't know. Robin, one of my business partners, was standing there shooting the video. We just went out after a company meeting and shot a couple videos. Now, some of you are going, okay, yeah, Kenny, that's fine. You're a professional trainer, a speaker, coach. You shoot a lot of video. That's true. But guess what? Now Robin's getting involved in video. In fact, she was interviewed on the news yesterday for our local company. And here's what I want you to realize. I've never been a natural at video. I'm better now than when I started because I've shot thousands of hours of it. But guess what? Your clients aren't looking for you to be an expert on video. They're not looking for Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie to show up telling them about how hot or cold it's going to be this summer or winter. They're looking for somebody to share information, somebody to be real. So don't freak out and don't miss the boat over your own ego getting in the way and going, nah, I'm not good on video, therefore I'm not going to do it. If you want to answer that, if you want to use that as an excuse, my friends, then allow that to cost you some money. But what if I said, hey, what if you shot a video once a month, every couple weeks, and got it out to your list, and that would help drive sales? Then that drives revenue, that drives profit. You might go, oh, so you're saying I could get paid to shoot video? Well, what about that? Now my frame a little different in your mind. But don't worry about it. Don't worry about making mistakes, and just be on it. People want authenticity. If you follow us at all, and if you haven't, hopefully you will, we talk about authenticity a lot. And clients want authenticity more than anything on the planet. When you get on the camera and you're a little nervous and your voice squeaks and you make a couple of stumbles as you're kind of walking through, they love that, my friends. They probably like that more than mine that might be a little bit more polished. So stick to that and don't miss that boat. So now we take all of a sudden repurposing. Now we got a couple more things out of it. Now I just showed you how to get 3 Facebook posts out of it, tying back to the YouTube videos here. And so now all of a sudden we where are we at here? We've taken one column. It took us, or one article, takes us about 90 minutes. We jump online, we do a little bit of Googling, we think about what we want to talk about. We know our own experience. Maybe we ask our team members, and from that we get a website blog. We get a company and a personal Facebook post with a link back to our blog. We get an email to our list. We jump on Canva and we have 3 Facebook posts with great with great visual behind them to help people see them, to help people want to digest them, and then all of a sudden we can shoot a couple videos. All of that content, my friends, came out of one article and about 90 minutes of your time. So now let me ask you, what might be some of your challenges and your excuses when it comes to going through this? Because one of my goals here today is to really challenge a limiting belief that I know you have. And I know you have this because I work with thousands of contractors all over the place, and we all kind of come from the same cloth. I wasn't born a marketer. I wasn't, born into business ownership. I started in a drain cleaning truck, not knowing what I was doing. I've had cable wrapped around my arm. I mean, the fact I never broke any limbs from getting cable wrapped around me, and all the things that all of us have gone through, whether you're burning yourself or, this is a tough business out there, right? You're out there protecting the health and welfare of the world, and yet the trades are still looked down upon. Now, part of my mission is to change that. And one of the reasons I'm here with you today is to help change that. And so, I want you to think about that, and I want you to really, to be mindful of what that looks like. So I'm going to give you a moment, or in a moment I'm going to ask you for any questions that you might have, how we structure this, how we come up with it, how we can repurpose, anything that we've talked about here today, or anything else you want to know. I'm an open book, so anything that you want to ask, feel free to type into that chat box. And I also want to leave you before, before we would part ways here today, I also want you to know that we do have this Essential Club that I've been talking about. We do a quarterly online workshop where, we do webcasts similar to this with different topics every quarter, where, Q&A and all the different things, all about what drives the company. And, I'm going to give you access to this today for $1. So you think about $1, and you can have everything that I just talked about, plus hundreds of hours of content, from leadership to marketing to sales to all the different things that really drive your business. So, some of the things that I just want you to know about: over 60 tech training videos. I do them for you. You just plug them in, hit play on, or plug them in. It's internet based, so any device, wherever you are with internet access, you just choose a video, you print an action guide, and boom, you've got a meeting done for you. 3 volumes of marketing strategies and trainings, all kinds of leadership resources. The workshops I'm talking about, hundreds of hours, like I said. It's normally $97 a month, which is unbelievable. Our members literally call it the no-brainer club, is what they call it. And that's, as a creator of this content, it really feels good. Don't forget the Done For You newsletters are in there too. Just the newsletters are worth more than $97 a month, never mind all the tech training and all those things. So today we're going to give the entire thing to you for $1 for 1 month. Just go to this link and you can get started immediately. So while we're waiting, if anybody, one of the things I know from our membership is people don't want to ask questions because they don't want to look dumb. And usually those are the brokest plumbers and heating contractors. And I work with that does over $100 million a year, and he's the first one to ask a question when I open things for questions. And he's probably the smartest guy in the room. And why? Because he asked those questions. And so while we're waiting to see if anybody has any of those, I'll just field what I do know that many of you do have, and that is, the whole YouTube thing. It's the video thing. It's so big and it's so scary. And I've been there. I get it. I understand where you're coming from, but you can't let that stop you from success. I'll tie it to whether it's writing. I'm not a very good writer, and guess what? I'm a columnist for Plumbing and Mechanical magazine, and I've written a book, The 6 Dimensions of Change. I'm a published author. I write for a national publication, and I'm not a very good writer. So what does that mean? Yeah, I'm a plumber by trade. So the same with you. Just start writing, and you can have somebody look it over, and if you put it out, you're not writing for the Harvard Business Journal. Your clients they don't expect that. They want truth. They want real. They want authenticity. So if you go away with anything today, please go away with, make a decision. Make a decision to do this, or make a decision not to do it, and let your competition outpace you. Because the companies that embrace this, and the thing is, there's so many tools that are done for you, like what we offer, as well as, countless, sure, there's agencies, but I'll tell you right now, don't turn it over and not look at what your agency's sending out. Anything that somebody's going to send out on behalf of your company better cross your desk first. Why am I so adamant about that? Kenny's made that mistake. Don't allow that to happen. This needs to come from, ideally it needs to come from you, and if nothing else, it's got to have your company's voice. Every company has a culture. When I walk into a business to do consulting, I'll know in 30 seconds what that culture feels like, just from the energy in the building, from looking around. Your clients need to feel that as well, my friends.
Hey, Kenny, we do have a couple questions here, and I did want to chime in regarding, making videos and so forth. A great resource are PHCC members. We have many members that have gone that route, made videos for their companies and so forth. So you also have a resource right at your fingertips just to see examples of the things that you're talking about today.
Absolutely.
And let's see. So here's a quick question. Can you give a percentage of how much your budget should go to marketing before, during, or after?
So, it really varies, and we could argue marketing budgets as a whole, completely across the board. But in my opinion, the during piece, is really largely tied to your sales piece. But what we've seen in effective after unit marketing, if you're not spending 20 to 30% of your entire budget on the after unit, then we believe that you're leaving money on the table. There needs to be a pretty good chunk, and it's scary because it's, you're kind of throwing it against the wall and hoping that it sticks. But statistics all over the world, I mean, when you look at some of the most effective marketers in any industry, many of them will tell you that if you could take away all of my marketing except my newsletter, literally that's how powerful a newsletter is. And so as I say that, the other piece is it doesn't have to cost that much because newsletters can be put out very inexpensively. Mail, hard copy mail, snail mail, if you will, on a quarterly basis. And then like we put out that done for you monthly one, what our clients do is they turn it into an email newsletter on the months in between. So they hard copy mail it quarterly and then email it in between, and my gosh, you're touching people for pennies on the dollar, or I mean, it's just very, very inexpensive. So great question. Fantastic.
And there's one more, and I'm sorry if this, I didn't catch when it came in, but besides getting leads, what else can you do in the before process?
Besides getting leads?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so other than getting leads, which that's the primary function of that before unit, is to drive leads. But at the same time, I will say that it's to drive relationship. So in that before unit, sure, there's going to be offers, but there's also, really in the before, that's your community service. That's your going on MS walks and breast cancer walks. And, we've got a pink truck at our company. My mother beat breast cancer several years ago, and it's very near and dear to my heart. And we wrapped a truck pink and donate proceeds of that to cancer treatment. And now a lot of contractors are doing it around the country. But, the reality is when you're out in the community, when you're doing those things, you're building relationship, but it's still before unit marketing. And even if you're sending newsletters to cold prospects, and if you're out in networking events, that's all before unit marketing that is really based on building relationship that ultimately turns into a lead. So I don't know about you, but at the end of the day, I want it to turn into a lead one way or the other, and that's the whole function of that before unit. Great question.